You've always believed that when your dog wags its tail, it means they're happy. But the truth is, that's one of the biggest misconceptions every dog owner gets wrong. Like when you thought licking your face was just their way of giving kisses, or when you heard that sitting in the rain means they're simply being stubborn. In this video, you'll uncover the surprising truths behind these everyday habits, secrets no veterinarian will casually explain to you. But before we break them all down, let's start with a moment you've probably seen 100 times. The first drops of rain fall, and your dog suddenly sits down in the middle of the street. You think it's laziness, but it's not. Research shows raindrops hitting sensitive areas like the ears and back can trigger discomfort, while their survival instinct tells them to pause and stay cautious. And that's just the beginning, because the next myth sounds harmless, but the truth will completely change how you see your dog. Number 2. Why do dogs get excited when you sneeze? You sneeze once, just a sudden burst of sound, and your dog lights up as if you've just called their name. Some owners think it's random, even silly. But research in canine social behavior suggests dogs interpret sharp, familiar sounds as invitations to interact. Just as wolves use short huffs or social sneezes to coordinate play, domestic dogs hear your sneeze not as danger, but as a signal. Something is happening, and I want to be part of it. Imagine how a child perks up when a parent laughs. The energy transfers instantly. Your sneeze becomes a ripple of attention your dog eagerly rides. Studies from animal behaviorists show that dogs often mirror our micro-expressions. If you sneeze, smile, and glance at them, they register it as a shared moment. That's why some dogs respond by wagging, jumping, even howling back like joining a choir. And here's where it gets deeper to your dog. Your sneeze doesn't belong to the category of random noise. It belongs to my person's signals. They're not celebrating germs. They're celebrating connection. The next time you sneeze and see those eager eyes, remember it's their way of saying, "I'm with you, whatever just happened." And if you think that's strange, wait until you see what happens when they pretend not to hear you. Number 3. Why do dogs pretend not to hear your commands? You call out clear and firm, "Come here." Yet your dog stays rooted, nose to the ground, tail flicking as if you never spoke. To many owners, it feels like rebellion, a little act of betrayal. But neuroscience tells another story. Dogs are masters of selective attention. A 2018 study on canine cognition revealed that dogs filter human commands based on emotional tone and expected reward. If your voice carries irritation, or if past experience taught them, "Come here" means the walk is over, they're brain tags that cue as low value. Imagine getting a phone notification, you glance at it, realize it's spam, and swipe it away. Your dog is doing the same thing with your words. What seems like defiance is closer to cost-benefit analysis. Their ancient survival wiring tells them, respond to signals that matter most. A leash being lifted, that predicts adventure. A refrigerator door creaking open, that predicts food. But sit barked without warmth or follow-through, that predicts nothing worth abandoning. A fascinating scent on the sidewalk. And here's the irony. The sharper your frustration, the less they trust your lead. Dogs are exquisitely tuned to emotional undercurrents. A tense voice makes them hesitate. A confident, calm tone pulls them in. So when they ignore you, they're not deaf. They're testing the gravity of your words. They're asking silently, "Do you mean this? Are you worth following right now?" And if you think this selective hearing is tricky, wait until you see what happens when they stop at a single patch of ground and refuse to move for minutes, as if reading an invisible newspaper written only in scent. Number 4. Why do dogs sniff one single spot for minutes? The leash tightens in your hand, impatience bubbling, but your dog stays glued to a patch of sidewalk, as if it hides the secret of the universe. To you, it's a boring stain of dirt. To them, it's a portal of information richer than any newspaper or breaking news alert. Studies in canine olfaction show that a dog's nose can process scents at parts per trillion, meaning they don't just smell who passed by, they smell the age, sex, stress level, even the diet of that animal. Imagine scrolling through a social feed where every post carries not just words, but emotions, hormones, and history layered in the pixels. That's what your dog is decoding one deep inhale at a time. Animal behaviorists call this scent investigation, a survival mechanism inherited from wolves who read their territory through smell rather than sight. Every drop of urine, every scuff of paw, leaves a chemical diary. When your dog pauses for 5 long minutes, it's not distraction, it's analysis. They're piecing together a puzzle. Was it a stranger? A neighbor's dog? A rival marking boundaries? Should I answer back with my own signature? For them, ignoring this olfactory bulletin board would be like you ignoring a siren blaring behind you. And here lies the twist. Rushing your dog through these moments can rob them of mental stimulation as vital as physical exercise. A sniffari, as researchers call it, can lower stress hormones and enrich brain activity. So next time you feel annoyed, remember your dog isn't wasting time. They're reading the world's hidden script. And if decoding scents feels mysterious, wait until you hear why barking at guests carries meanings far deeper than just noise. Number 5. Why do dogs bark when guests arrive? The doorbell rings, and in an instant, your peaceful living room turns into a storm of sound. Your dog charges forward, chest out, voice booming, as if announcing an invasion. To you, it may feel embarrassing, noisy, even rude. But ethologists, scientists who study animal behavior, argue that barking at visitors is not misbehavior. It's communication layered with instinct. In the wild, wolves use howls and warning calls to alert the pack whenever territory is breached. Your dog, even the smallest lapdog, still carries this ancestral script. Their bark is a broadcast, someone is here. Pay attention. The pack must know. But it's not only about protection. Neuroscientists at Budapest's Family Dog Project discovered that dogs can change the pitch and rhythm of their bark, depending on context, lower tones when guarding higher pitches when excited. That's why the same sound can mean both danger and I'm so happy. To a human ear, it's chaos, but to your dog, it's precise language. Sometimes the bark is pure adrenaline, joy spilling over, without a vocabulary to contain it. Imagine seeing an old friend at the gate, but having only one word to shout. It bursts out again and again. And here's where training makes the difference. If you establish a ritual alert, then retreat to a place, then reward you, teach your dog discipline without silencing their voice. They learn that barking is allowed, but calm must follow. Ignoring this need leaves them anxious, like a guard forced to stay silent. And just when you think barking is the loudest quirk, wait until you catch them quietly, grazing on grass like cattle, and wonder why on earth they do it. Number 6. Why do dogs eat grass? You're strolling through the park, your dog sniffing happily along the path, when suddenly they lower their head and begin chewing grass with the calm focus of a grazing cow. To most owners, this looks absurd, even alarming. Why would a carnivore nibble on blades of green? For centuries, people assumed it meant illness, that the dog was trying to make itself vomit. And yes, sometimes eating grass does trigger regurgitation. But veterinary studies, including surveys from the University of California, found that less than 10% of grass-eating episodes end with sickness. The truth runs deeper. In evolutionary terms, wolves often ingested plants indirectly through the stomachs of herbivorous prey. Grass carries fiber chlorophyll and micronutrients, acting like nature's broom to sweep the digestive tract. When your dog munches those blades, it's not random. It's instinct, an echo of their ancestors maintaining gut health. Ethologists even argue that chewing tender spring grass reduces boredom and anxiety, offering the canine brain the same calm ritual that humans find in chewing gum. Picture it, each blade between their teeth is like a thread unwinding tension from their body. And then there's the sensory joy. For many dogs, fresh grass is juicy, fragrant, alive, and edible texture that delights their senses. So the next time you see your pup grazing, don't panic. As long as it isn't constant and the grass isn't treated with chemicals, it's a natural behavior, even beneficial. But don't get too comfortable, because the next mystery digs deeper, literally. Why do dogs obsessively dig holes in the earth? And sometimes even in your couch? That answer will surprise you even more. Number 7. Why do dogs dig holes even in your sofa? The backyard looks like a battlefield, soil flung in every direction. Or worse, your sofa cushions bear the marks of frantic paws. At first glance, it feels like destruction for the sake of chaos. But biology paints a different picture. Certain breeds, like terriers, were designed by centuries of selective breeding to dig out burrowing prey. That instinct doesn't vanish just because they're curled up in a modern living room. Ethologists explain that the motion of digging activates reward circuits in the canine brain, releasing dopamine in the same way humans feel satisfaction when scratching an itch. It's not vandalism, it's self-regulation. Research from animal behavior journals shows that dogs often dig before lying down, as a nesting behavior inherited from their wild ancestors. Wolves in tall grass scrape the ground to make a cooler, softer bed, and your dog does the same on your couch. When anxiety rises, digging becomes a coping strategy, a physical release valve for bottled energy. Think of it as their version of pacing in circles or squeezing a stress ball. And sometimes, digging is pure communication, a way of saying, something doesn't feel right. Let me fix it with my paws. For owners, the instinct can feel inconvenient, but it's also a window into their primal heritage. Redirect it to a sandbox, a digging mat, or safe outdoor space, and you'll see joy rather than destruction. Because beneath the shredded soil and scattered fluff lies an unspoken truth: your dog is chasing comfort, not chaos. And just when you're ready to forgive the dirt and torn fabric, a new monster looms in your home, the roaring, growling vacuum cleaner that terrifies even the bravest pup. Number 8. Why are dogs afraid of the vacuum cleaner? You roll the vacuum across the floor, and instantly your dog transforms, ears pinned back, eyes wide, tail tucked, fleeing, as if a monster has entered the room. To us, it's just a noisy appliance. To them, it's a living beast. The roar of the motor falls into frequencies, especially piercing to canine ears, amplified like thunder in a small space. Research from canine auditory studies shows dogs can hear up to 4 times the range of human perception, which means what sounds like a hum to us is a painful shriek to them. Add in the vibrations that ripple through the floorboards, and it becomes a sensory assault. But it's not only sound. The vacuum moves erratically, lurching forward, doubling back, swallowing dust in unpredictable patterns. From your dog's perspective, it lacks a face, a smell, or any consistent body language, making it unreadable and therefore threatening. Ethologists compare this fear to a primal survival response in the wild. Anything that moves suddenly and makes unnatural noise could be a predator. Even your tension plays a role. If you grip the handle with stress or rush the chore, your dog reads your unease as confirmation that danger is real. And here lies the irony. The very tool you use to clean their space becomes their worst nightmare. Some owners desensitize their pets with gradual exposure, turning the monster into background noise. Others create a safe retreat, allowing the dog to observe from a calm distance. Because for your pup, the vacuum is never just a machine, it's an unpredictable storm in the middle of their home. And just when the storm quiets, another mystery unfolds. Why do dogs twitch and jerk in their sleep as if chasing invisible prey? In dreams. Number 9. Why do dogs twitch in their sleep? The house is quiet, your dog curled in a dream when suddenly a paw jerks. The tail flicks, even a muffled bark slips out. For a moment, you panic. Are these seizures? Is something wrong? But neuroscience tells a softer story. Just like humans, dogs pass through REM sleep, the stage where the brain rehearses memories and plays out vivid dreams. A 2001 study from MIT on rats showed that during REM, their brains fired in patterns identical to when they ran mazes while awake. Scientists believe dogs do the same, reliving a walk, a chase, or even the joy of your touch. Those twitches aren't sickness. They're snapshots of memory flickering through the body. Think of it as rehearsal. The brain sends faint signals down neural pathways, and muscles respond with tiny rehearsed movements like an orchestra tuning before the performance. Puppies and senior dogs twitch more because their sleep cycles are less stable, their brains more porous to dream spillover. Watching them, you're glimpsing the secret cinema of a dog's mind, a place where pigeons are forever pursued, and doors are forever opening to the people they love. But here's the haunting beauty. Those movements also signal vulnerability. In the wild, twitching in sleep could reveal weakness. For your dog to dream so openly beside you means ultimate trust. They're telling you silently, "Here in this place with you, I can let my guard down." And if dreams reveal trust, what about the simple stretch they do when they wake? That small bow of the body hides meanings that are just as profound. Number 10. Why do dogs stretch when they wake up? Morning light slips across the floor, and before you even move, your dog rises slowly, pushing their paws forward, hips lifted back, arched in a perfect bow. To most owners, it's just a sleepy stretch, no different than a yawn. But to canine behaviorists, that gesture is far more than muscle loosening. Studies on canine communication show that stretching is closely tied to the play bow, a universal signal meaning friendliness and joy. When your dog greets you with that long, deliberate stretch, it's not just warming their joints, it's their way of saying, "I'm glad you're here, and I want to connect." Physiology adds another layer. During sleep, blood pools in certain muscles and tissues lose elasticity. Stretching pumps circulation back into stiff limbs, primes the spine, and protects joints from strain. Veterinary research even compares this ritual to a built-in yoga session, reducing injury risk in highly active breeds. But science can't fully explain the emotional weight. Owners often notice dogs stretching more after stressful moments, like waiting alone or hearing loud noises. Ethologists interpret this as a reset, a way to shake off anxiety, just as humans sigh deeply to release tension. And there's something almost ceremonial about it. That quiet bow feels like reverence, a subtle acknowledgement that the day begins with you. Far from trivial, it's a ritual of trust, an unspoken morning greeting. Yet while stretching whispers calm and affection, the next behavior shatters that peace, because when a distant siren or a song swells, some dogs don't just listen, they sing. Number 11. Why do dogs howl with music, or sirens? The first wail of an ambulance slices through the night, or a violin note lingers on the radio. and suddenly your dog tilts their head back and pours out a sound that seems to rise from something ancient. To some, it's funny, to others, eerie, but to biologists, it's pure ancestry echoing. Wolves howl to map distance, signal safety, and summon the pack, and your dog, though far from the forest, still carries that genetic chorus. Research from the University of Vienna found that dogs are most likely to howl in response to long, sustained frequencies that resemble wolf calls. That's why a siren or a high-pitched flute can light up their vocal cords like an old family song. But here's what makes it even more fascinating. Not every dog just mimics. Some match pitch, others weave in their own note, as if trying to harmonize. Ethologists believe this is social bonding in action. Your dog isn't just copying, they're joining. Think of it as them grabbing the microphone in a choir and insisting, "I belong to this group too." And it's not only instinct, it's emotion. Owners often report dogs howling more when left alone with background music, as if the song becomes a surrogate companion. So when your living room turns into a concert hall, remember it's not noise. It's heritage, a thread tying them to a pack that spans centuries. And while their howl may raise goosebumps, their next quirk is softer, subtler. The puzzling ritual of begging to go outside, only to spin around and demand to come back inside moments later. Number 12. Why do dogs ask to go out and then want to come back in immediately? It starts the same way every time: the scratch at the door, the impatient eyes, the whimper that says, "I need to go out now." You sigh, open the door, and before you've even settled back down, they're standing there again, asking to come in, as if nothing happened. It feels like a prank, a pointless game. But canine behavior research shows this isn't random at all. Dogs don't always go outside to relieve themselves. Sometimes they go because stepping out is like hitting the refresh button on their mental world. A quick change in air, a new scent carried by the wind, even the sound of a distant bark gives their brain the stimulation they craved. Once that need is met indoors, suddenly feels safer and warmer again. Ethologists compare it to humans checking their phones compulsively. We're not always looking for something urgent, but the act itself resets our attention. A 2020 study on canine environmental enrichment found that dogs offered more frequent short outings showed lower levels of stress hormones compared to those with only long, scheduled walks. For them, it's not the distance, it's the access, the ability to confirm that their territory remains secure. Sometimes, especially in quiet neighborhoods, the outside world disappoints no dogs, no scents, just cold pavement. So they turn back disappointed, but satisfied they had the choice. And here's the hidden layer testing. The door isn't just about freedom, it's about reassurance. Every time the door opens, it proves the bond is intact. I still control my access. My human still responds. But if that seems puzzling, wait until you see what happens after they finish their business outdoors, because the sudden sprint that follows will make you wonder what secret ritual just took place. Number 13. Why do dogs scratch the ground and suddenly zoom after pooping? You clip on the leash. Watch your dog do their business, and just as you're ready to relax, boom. They dig furiously at the dirt, kicking back clumps of earth like a tiny bulldozer, and then launch into a wild sprint, zigzagging as though they've just won a race. To us, it looks comical, maybe even a little insane. But biology offers a deeper truth. Dogs have scent glands in their paws, and when they scratch the ground, they're leaving behind a chemical signature layered with their personal "I was here." Ethologists call this scent posting, a territorial announcement far richer than the waste itself. It's not covering anything, it's broadcasting. And then comes the explosion of energy. Veterinarians refer to this as the post-poop zoomies, a ritual that may seem silly but has real physiological roots. Pooping is a vulnerable act. During those few seconds, your dog is exposed, unable to defend or flee. The sudden sprint after is like shaking off tension, a primal declaration of freedom. I'm done. I'm light. I'm safe. Now, let's run. Researchers suggest it also activates the vagus nerve, releasing a jolt of feel-good energy, much like humans feel after a good stretch or laugh. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack all day, dropping it suddenly and feeling weightless. That's your dog, after relieving themselves. But here's the twist. This ritual isn't just instinct, it's joy. Dogs that feel secure in their environment celebrate even the smallest acts of survival. And if a bathroom break can trigger euphoria, wait until you discover why they bark into thin air at things you can't even see or hear. That mystery will make you question what kind of hidden world your dog is living in. Number 14. Why do dogs bark at nothing? It's late evening, the room is calm, and suddenly your dog stiffens. Ears, perked eyes darting toward the empty hallway. A sharp bark breaks the silence. You glance around, nothing there. To you, it feels irrational, even spooky. But canine science suggests otherwise. Dogs live in a sensory spectrum beyond our reach. Their hearing picks up frequencies far above what human ears can detect, up to 65,000 hertz, compared to our mere 20,000. That means the faint hum of an appliance, the squeak of a mouse behind a wall, or the footsteps of a neighbor across the street can register as loud and urgent. What feels like empty space to us is for them a symphony of signals. Scent sharpens the mystery even more. A 2021 study on canine olfaction revealed that dogs can detect odor concentrations as low as 1 part per trillion. So, when your dog barks at nothing, it may be a whiff of another animal carried on the breeze or the hormonal scent of a stranger passing by hours earlier. To them, these invisible cues are real presences intruding into their territory. Ethologists say barking in these cases is not paranoia. It's a broadcast: I hear you, I smell you, stay away. But there's also psychology at play. Dogs prone to anxiety bark more often at subtle changes, light flickers, shadows, reflections, because their brain interprets novelty as threat. Imagine living in a world where your senses are cranked to maximum, and every whisper could signal danger. That's your dog's reality. And while these ghostly alarms may unsettle you, their final mystery is even more intimate. Because when your dog watches you closely and begins to guard you like a fragile child, the meaning runs far deeper than protection. Number 15. Why do dogs treat you like a child and guard you? You sink into the couch after a long day, weary and quiet, and suddenly your dog is there, pressing close, watching your every breath, licking your hand, as if checking your pulse. It feels tender, almost parental. But why would an animal guard its owner with such devotion? Neuroscience has answers. Studies published in Science show that when humans and dogs lock eyes, both species experience a surge of oxytocin, the same hormone that bonds mothers to infants. In that moment, your dog isn't just your pet. They're your caretaker, reading your face, your posture, even the chemical shifts in your sweat that reveal stress or sadness. Ethologists believe this instinct flows from pack behavior. In a wolf family, members protect the vulnerable, injured, sick, or young. Domestic dogs inherited this script and rewrote it around us. When you cough, cry, or move more slowly than usual, their protective radar activates. My human is fragile. I must stay near. It's why some dogs shadow cancer patients or curl up beside owners with depression. They sense the imbalance and step into the role of silent guardian. And here's the haunting beauty: this isn't training, it's choice. They could walk away, but instead, they double down, anchoring themselves to your side. To them, You're not just provider, you're precious cargo, the center of their world. Every lick, every stare, every protective stance is a vow I will care for you as if you were my pup. And if all these mysteries from barking at shadows to singing with sirens tell us anything, it's this: dogs don't just live with us. They live for us. So now you've seen it, 15 strange, sometimes baffling quirks that aren't random at all, but pieces of a hidden language. Every twitch in their sleep, every howl at a siren, every paw that digs into your couch is a message, a thread that ties them closer to you. Science can explain the hormones, the instincts, the evolutionary scripts, but it cannot fully capture the quiet miracle, a creature that chooses day after day to orbit its life around yours. Your dog doesn't just share your house, they share your heart. They sense your joy before you speak it, your sorrow before you admit it. And in those moments, when they guard you like a child, when they comfort you with a lick, or simply sit beside you in silence, they're telling you the oldest truth in the world: you are my person, and I will never leave your side. If these secrets made you look at your dog with new eyes, imagine what else is hidden in their world, waiting to be uncovered. That's what we reveal here every week: truths about loyalty, emotion, and the quiet science of love between humans and dogs. So if you don't want to miss the next secret your dog is trying to tell you, hit that subscribe button now. Because the bond you share isn't just companionship, it's a story still being written. And together, we'll keep discovering what every heartbeat, every bark, every glance truly means.